Good morning. Thank you for joining us. I'm Chris Lyons. If don't know me or haven't met me, I'm the CEO of the Food Production Solutions Association, and I'm joined here this morning by Christy Mead from Messe Frankfurt. Together, Messe Frankfurt and FPSA put on the trade show that we hold every 2 years, be occurring, as the slide shows, October 26th through 28 in 2027. We wanted to present this webinar to our members and non-members to talk about the show, some changes that we're making in the show, and how it will benefit you to exhibit and attend the show. I think, as most FPSA members are aware, the show that we have has changed, at least its name and its focus a bit over the several years, from Process Expo to EATS, and now the Food Production Solutions Show. We wanted to explain to you why we're making these changes in the name and the focus of the show, and what will be happening at the show. And so I would like to turn it over to my colleague, Christy Mead, to begin our presentation about the Food Production Solutions Show. Christy.
Thank you for letting me join you, Chris. At the close of EATS, as Chris stated, we took a beat and we had a very candid conversations with exhibitors, FPSA members, board members, and we dove headlong into analyzing what is the need in the industry. How can we help manufacturers? So in doing so, the Food Production Solution Show started to come about. So from there, we went into what's the gap in the industry? And we started talking to the manufacturers. What are their needs? What they need is solutions. That was the resounding feedback. How we decided to give that is, in the past, most of the shows currently all follow the production to supply chain. They follow the product. What the manufacturers say they need is they need you to follow them. So we are launching in a way that is completely different. There's not another show like it. We're going to follow the product, going to regulatory compliance, to production, to scaling. So we're going to fill that gap and give them the solutions that they need to follow them in their journey. Chris, do you have anything to add there?
Yes, so I think this slide is very informative about the types of shows that are put on in our industry. On the bottom, following the journey of the product, you'll see shows that we're all familiar with: IPPE, Pack Expo. EATS, Process Expo also belonged in the bottom journey of the product. They're all the same types of show. It's a very competitive market. We actually struggled just to find good dates to put it on that are not conflicting with other shows. And you all also have had to make trade-offs between which show you might go to. There are so many there. So we think this new approach, looking at the journey of the processor, is something that's unique and something that's also needed. We feel, particularly as a trade association, that we should be helping our members and the association as a whole grow and expand. And so we're trying to put more focus on that aspect, on you, on other companies that are entering the market, and how is it that they will grow and become the customers of tomorrow for our OEM members.
So the value proposition is simple. We want to connect food manufacturers with solutions that drive the growth. How do we do that? We bring in different verticals. So we start looking at not just equipment, but how do we answer their questions on scaling operations? How do we help them reduce costs? How do we help them find trusted suppliers and new technologies and equipment? And do they need co-processors? How do we want to bring that all under one roof? So when we started looking at this, we hired a company to look at and really analyze, what does that universe look like? How many food manufacturers are out there, from emerging to enterprise? And this is what we found. We found there are about 58,000 of them out there. So sorry about that. We want to service them. So what do they need? They need everything, is what we found. The feedback is that they need everything from learning how to properly label a product, to food safety, to how do they find the right equipment? How do they find a co-processor? Many of them don't even know how to start. So we really want this platform to service them, to give
Yeah.
those solutions.
Yeah, and I think this is an important point about the segment of the food processing industry that we feel is underserved. I know personally, as I've gotten more familiar with the entire industry, and our association has historically been focused solely on OEMs, and we've branched out in recent years to focus on processors that buy that equipment. But you know, every year we feel it here that there's mergers that go on, there's changes that occur in the industry, and there's a whole new set of companies that are coming up and new ways of having manufacturing occur that we are not touching as much as we should as a trade association. And so you'll hear as we go through this presentation, in order to address this larger universe of potential food production companies and other companies that are associated with that ecosystem, we're going to bring in different voices than we have in the past. This will be a different show. It will be actually a show with a larger aperture than we've ever had in the past to try to address some of these needs. And also, as a sidebar, I know some of the font is rather small on this slide. I forgot to mention at the beginning of this presentation that we will be making the presentation available publicly on our website and also Messe Frankfurt's website. So you'll have a chance to examine all of these things in detail if you want. So thanks, Christy.
No problem. Thank you. When we go to lay this out, we are laying it out in zones. So we're going to section the show off to help them follow a process. So they start out in zone 1, which is going to be the product development and planning. So that is where they're going to find and figure out how to formulate their new recipe. How do they mass produce things? How do they get funding? And then it goes into the zone 2, which is going to be our regulatory and compliance zone, where they can learn about sanitation processes, food safety, quality control, all of those things that they need and have to understand in order to grow. And then it goes into zone 3, which is where many of you probably sit, which is our production and facilities. So that is where the equipment comes in. It is the largest section of our show. It will always be. It's you have to have it to produce. So that is a big part of the show. Then you move to operations and scaling, and that's where you're going to find inventory control, distribution, marketing, packaging, some of the workforce development, if you're looking to private label, and all of those lovely things. In each of these zones, we will also have a solutions-based theater. And as we get through the presentation, you'll learn more about how we're designing each section to provide solutions from different groups.
Yeah, and I think you can see from this slide alone, the breadth of the show is big. It's much bigger than the show has been in the past. Again, back to we're expecting and trying to pull in new audiences, different audiences. And Christy, I don't know if you're going to address this, but part of the concept here is before you come to the show to kind of take a small questionnaire to help you understand where in this journey you might be. There's so much, I think, from zone 1 to zone 4 that it would be overwhelming. And I'm not sure that anybody needs all of it depending on where they are on the journey. But
Yes.
if you're a small person starting out, or even I think of some of the startups I've seen coming out of university programs, maybe you're down in zone 1 and zone 2 trying to figure out what exactly do I need to do, right? But if you're a mid-sized company looking to scale, you don't start over at zone 1. You may be starting right in zone 3, something like that.
Yeah.
So there's a lot here for a lot of audiences.
Yes. To your point, we are looking at the development of for lack of a nicer word, a quiz that they can take to tell them what section of the floor they need to start in. So you're right, they could be an emerging person and they need to start because they need to learn how to reformulate their recipe. Or they could be that medium company, like you said, they are going to scale larger. Maybe they need to find another co-processor. Maybe they are going to build their own factory. They need to have more output and they need more equipment. They'll start in 3. But they may need to understand more about the food safety changes, so they may have to start in actually 2. So we're hoping to get those launched with registration so that when they're registering, they can answer those quizzes along the way.
Yeah, I'll just say anecdotally, a couple weeks ago, Christy and I were down in New York at the Javits Center at the Fancy Food Show, Specialty Food Association. The entire Javits Center filled with people exhibiting their products and their ideas for food, and we just ran into company after company that fits along this spectrum. Folks that are saying, one gentleman in particular told me, like, I have this kind of dessert, I have to dehydrate it, and then we package it here. I've got 10 small dehydrators. I'm at the point right now, I need to get a bigger machine. I need to get bigger machinery because I just can't buy more of these small ones and keep them running. It's time for me to scale up. We ran into other startups that were trying to figure out how they could get some limited batches of their new beverages created. Who do they talk to? Time after time, when I ask people, how'd you find, for instance, the co-packer, contract manufacturer to do that first batch? It was, well, I read it on the back of a can, or I knew a guy who knew a guy who knew a guy who told me a name. There's a whole lot of confusion and need for people to find a place where they can get these answers and scale and grow, right? And I think that is the value we're trying to capture.
So as Chris stated, these are all the questions that we heard from Fancy Foods, from going to and talking to manufacturers. They don't know the answers. Many of them told me that they even do research on YouTube, finding others like them to help them along the way. So we really want this show to be the place where they find those solutions and find you, the industry, to help them along the way, to help them grow, to become that medium, large enterprise company. So
when we talk about a larger, audience for this and the attendees coming to this show, as you'll see in these questions here, there may be paths for businesses that are not scaling but are selling or looking to be acquired, and we're not keeping that audience out either. We expect to have some firms in there that might be looking to acquire other firms in. So it's a big tent idea here that we're trying to change the show to address.
and that's something that we will be talking about as well as building into registration. Sorry, there's background noise. We're building into registration a question. Are you interested in a merger? Are you looking to invest? So that when they're registering, we can perhaps connect them with somebody else that fits that need or want. And in discussing that, you'll see the mergers and acquisition exchange. We're building that. We're also creating networking meetups. We're calling them manufacturer meetups because we want to put like-minded people together so that they can help each other. Also inviting industry exhibitors in to actually participate in those as well. And as I said earlier, we're looking at 4 solutions-based theaters. In building those, we are working with key associations, inviting associations in to participate and help us build those education platforms. And those topics can range from batching, scaling, labeling, workforce, automation. How do I optimize and create more output on equipment? What do I need a new piece of equipment? Do I need a larger space? And then we are also creating collaboration labs where we can give them a more intimate setting and bringing in participants from the different zones to help answer those questions. And some of those can go from facility expansion, automation decisions, all of the things that they need, but sometimes are too afraid to ask publicly. So a more intimate setting for them to do so. So we're creating as much solution-based avenues for them to network and get what they need before they leave. Do you have anything to add there, Chris?
No, I think that's great. I mean, there are plenty of opportunities for meeting people, collaborating, networking. That's the whole idea.
Absolutely. So with that, as I stated, we're looking at partnerships with several associations, and we have a lot of meetings going on. Of course, we have FPSA, and we are talking to Fancy Foods Association to create a partnership with them because, as Christopher noted, they have 6,000 attendees that are they have members that are our audience for the
Hmm.
show.
That's
So
right.
we want them to come to the show. So we're building those partnerships to get them to encourage them to come to the show. So those partnerships and marketing are happening. We're in talks with 3A, also food safety councils, BSI, Co-Packers Association is coming in with a pavilion and a partnership. We have Chicagoland Food that I'm working with. There are a multitude. And right now, just setting in the associations that we're working with, our reach is expanding so far by 20,000, and we're looking for even more partnerships. And I have several more meetings to go. So if you have an association that you think we haven't reached out to yet, let us know. We're happy to add that to our 100+ list that we have that we're working. So please share if you have anything that you want us to cover. We're happy to do so.
Yeah, and I want to foot stomp this approach, particularly after Eats 25. There was, I know, some disappointment with the number of attendees and the traffic that came through. It was a very tough year. All the trade shows, 3-year, 2-year, 1-years, they all hit the same year, and a number of other issues with government shutdown and all. But still, we've explicitly, and we've never done this before, Messa Frankfurt and FPSA reached out to other associations, other peer associations, other associations that are aligned with us in different ways, to ask them to bring their audiences and bring their exhibitors to the show. We're really trying to make sure that there are a lot of people coming to this, but again, from different aspects and different audiences that we haven't seen before. So this is a very explicit strategy to try to address the traffic and the attendee numbers at this show. And it's been very encouraging so far in the outreach to these different associations. And as Christy said, it's not done yet. I mean, there's a lot more conversations going, things that have just started, and I think it's pretty exciting.
The feedback has been great, actually, so far from all of the associations, societies, and groups that I've talked to. They're very positive and they're actually excited about something that they know they need. I've talked to many test kitchens and things like that, and they're like, this is needed. Absolutely. So we feel really confident in this. So the next thing that they're working on, we're expanding our marketing. So we've hired an influencer marketing campaign company that is already getting started. They are going to be doing videos, working with influencers in the industry. They're going to create and manage AI, Reddit, all of the things. So that's kickstarted. We've hired a PR agency. They are writing industry specific articles and hitting up key trade publications that traditionally we go in with just advertising. We want more article based. So we are driving that direction.
And I'll also just add for FPSA members, something that is an evolution of the association that's occurring right now. We typically have not done a lot on social media platforms, but we are also kicking off our Instagram. I would say revitalizing our Instagram. I don't even want to mention how few people were on it, but we're going to pump that up and also get out maybe even on X and possibly some TikTok stuff. But we're also getting out to these different audiences in different ways, right? In actually more modern ways in many aspects. So we're part of we have a combined marketing campaign with Messe Frankfurt to talk about this show.
So this is the show floor is taking shape. So as you can see that by the colors, the zones and where they sit. So far, we have early commitments. As you can see, Riser, Multivac, Toyota, Frayne, just to name a few. Map Your Show, the floor plan will launch live next week. So anybody that's already committed will be receiving a link to go in and confirm their booth. All of those have been held already. So when you go in, you'll be able to go ahead and click through and confirm your booth.
And
So we'll be
Christy,
launching campaigns next week.
if I'm correct, lower left is one. If you were actually going to
Lower
travel with
left is
Zoe,
1, 2 is center, and then 3 is the orange. And then there's meeting rooms in the orange as well. And then because we're building in meeting rooms so that exhibitors can use those for private one-on-ones. And then zone 4 is the purple. And these will expand based on need. And then we also have an association zone where we will have each association that's participating in the solutions theaters will have a booth to drive people back to learn more and get more information as well. And then we're looking at a career fair as we talked about, and that will be in the front as well. And then, we're working on the production lines and what those look like. We are still working on how they're organized. Stay tuned on that one.
yeah, let me address that. One of the unique things about the show over the years has been the live production lines. We intend to continue with those lines. We had 3 last year. I think maybe 2 it will be this show. But we're also discussing what product will be made, but even who would set it up. FPSA may not do both. We may, I don't know, call it outsourcing or somehow, but work with a partner to set another one up. But the production lines will be there in the show. Always a draw. People like to watch
Yes.
them
Yeah.
spin
The
away.
activity around those is very good.
Yeah.
So I'm going to let you take this one, Chris.
Yeah. So one of the benefits, and I'm talking directly to FPSA members right now, and if you're on this and you're not a member, maybe you ought to think about this. But one of the benefits of being a member of FPSA has always been a discount on floor space at the show if you're an exhibitor. Years ago, we partnered up with Messe Frankfurt to put on this show, but the discount has been consistent and persists. So I want to make sure that FPSA members are aware that there's a differential in pricing for square footage for FPSA members. It's an 18% discount, as you can see here, off the non-member rate. And importantly, this is the exact same square footage cost that we had in 2025. So the cost has not gone up in the 2 years will have gone past. So a major FPSA member benefit. Again, we'll be in McCormick Place. I think it says West Hall, right? So
Yes.
that's where we'll be. As Christy was saying, the floor space is already starting to sell. So if you have a particular desire to be some spot on there, I would contact her, get in line. But FPSA members will get the discount benefit. So
now we're ready for questions.
yeah, so Jen, I didn't know if there's any questions that came in or anybody had any questions for us about the new show concept.
Yes, there are a couple questions. Something that we probably want to readdress is who are you targeting as attendees/visitors?
Anybody that produces food. or
No,
beverages or yeah. So
so yeah, and I would answer that this way. FPSA as an association has three membership classes, right? We've got equipment manufacturers, we have processors, and then we also have the associate group. And there's a variety of different companies in the associate membership group. This show is meant to appeal to each of those different membership categories. In the past, it's solely been really an equipment focused show. Uh, and as we say, we're trying to open up that aperture, give our other members a chance to sell, if you will, and talk about what their products are. We do not and absolutely do not want to stop emphasizing the equipment, but we also want to make sure that we are addressing the whole ecosystem here. You know, we've talked about in the past, for instance, processors, which are very interested in our FIT program in particular. But there's a whole set of contract manufacturers who buy a lot of equipment, influence buying decisions that are out there that we have not addressed specifically, right? They certainly fit into our emphasis and our mission, right? And so we're trying to make sure that the show appeals to a broad set of audiences. And again, I'd like to say that we're also trying to encourage the growth of companies that will be equipment purchasers, right? And will be
absolutely.
companies that will be using other services as they get bigger. There's a whole lot of them out there, as Christy was showing with the numbers. And, we're trying to push some of them, if you will, over the line to get bigger, help them out. We don't think there's any place that addresses their needs in the show conference, if you will, concept at this level. And so, the answer of who we're trying to attract, it's really everybody along this journey, right? You could be coming out of a university food technology program, and coming out of their little lab and have your whatever your product is, and you want to know how to scale, how to grow. Who do you talk to? You could find somebody that can answer some of your questions at this show, right? Or you could be the guy that I was talking to in the Javits Center who's said, look, I've outgrown 10 little dehydrators. I need a big one, or I need two big ones. And I need to go look and talk to somebody. Could be any of those audiences.
And it'll be different titles as job titles depending on company and section.
What else, Jen?
Great. Thank you both. I think there's also some interest in being reminded as to how you are attracting maybe the smaller companies who fit this entire process. How are you expecting to make sure that they can participate and that you are attracting them?
This is why we're spending a lot of time with test kitchens and different groups so that have members in that section. So we are spending a lot of time partnering with those associations and marketing to them. We are also looking at how we can host them in some way, whether they get free registration, perhaps they can apply to be an emerging brand that gets hosted with a hotel. We are looking at all of those avenues.
Yeah, and
To
I would say
ensure that
for
they are there.
FPSA members that are smaller companies, first of all, the discount applies to you as well, right? So please come out and grab some exhibit space on floor space. But we are, as I said, reaching out to all these different associations as well. I don't know of a single one of our members that is not also a member of some other associations, right? So we're using this strategy to expand our reach, and get those, make sure the smaller companies are aware of this opportunity and help them get there.
I mean, I just had a meeting yesterday with Chicagoland Food, and their group they have about 30,000 people that they have in their contact list. I'm partnering with those to get those people to come to the show because they are those small emerging companies. So those are the people that's how we're doing that reach. So partnering with them to give them discounts to get to the show, other ways, just any way we can get them there, that's our goal.
Thank you. Another question, if you committed to exhibiting during the Eat show, has that registration rolled over to the new show?
Jeffrey Johnson is our senior show manager, and Sarah, is our sales coordinator. They are reaching out to everyone. If you haven't heard from them, please, you can email me directly or Jeffrey, and we will assist you in getting that transitioned.
Thank you. Chris, earlier you alluded to the three different types of membership categories that FPSA has, associate being one of them. There's a little bit of confusion about where associates fit in. It could be somebody that deals with regulatory affairs, somebody that deals with cleaning, somebody that deals with the AI. Can you talk a little bit about if they wanted to exhibit, where they should go, which zone they should be focused, and if they would be a good attendee?
Yes. Yeah. Christy, I think maybe on your website, and we can put this on our site as well, there is a ton of detail that's
Yes.
gone into the types of companies that would
It
be
is on the
appropriate for
website.
each,
It's in
yeah,
the
for each
product
entity.
categories, and you can tell if you are food safety, where you go. You can tell it's all broken out. If you also, I believe there's a QR code that will take you to exhibit information. If you scan that code, it'll take you to the page. But on the website, it's all broken out. It even will give you a description of the types of visitors we're targeting for each section of the show as well. So it's not just about one person at each company, it's about multiple people at each company if they're large enough.
Yeah.
If they're emerging, of course, they're going to be too small to have multiple employees, but beyond that, we are targeting multiple people at each company.
Yeah. And I would also turn that around. I would say, look at yourself and see where you want to play. What kind of people do you want to talk to, right? It's kind of there'll be different audiences that'll be focused in different zones in this show. As we were talking about earlier, maybe take a couple question quiz, find yourself, like where might you start, right? This show is not, for instance, like IFA, if that is the concern here, where we've got people selling spices or basic grains or some. We're not doing that part. This is more about the companies, right, and what their needs are. And so again, as we've said, things like what do I need to think about regulatory? What do I need to think about in packaging? Who do I talk to? If I want to figure out how to finance a piece of equipment, and how could I do that? So I think that no matter who you are, there's definitely a space for you in the journey that we're laying out here. Um, this is the first year of this show. So I think, anything goes in terms of if you think you belong there. I think it's worth having a conversation with Messa Frankfurt and Jeffrey if you want, and putting yourself in there and talking to the folks that come by.
Awesome. Thank you. Um, the audience is being very energetic and very participatory. I love it. Here's another question. Many companies do not like to openly discuss their food safety and regulatory concerns. Many companies will rather handle this in-house than with a consultant or third party. How do you plan to break into this regulatory compliance realm?
So that's where we are working with some associations. So we are in talks with BSI. We're in talks with other food safety related associations and groups in order so that they can actually provide some education and information to help guide these companies. We realize that people don't want to publicly talk.
Yeah.
So the conversations will be more general. And if they want to learn more, they need to go visit that association, or they can lead them to a member of their association that is exhibiting that can provide that solution privately.
Yeah.
So it doesn't have to be where they're raising their hand to ask a public question that they don't really want to publicize.
Yeah.
We recognize that. We just want to give them a start to finding those solutions and then guiding them to the people that can help them.
Yeah. I think that's absolutely right, right? Get that guy's card, give him a call. Yeah, have a follow-up. Absolutely.
We have answered all of the questions
Oh.
that our audience has sent in, which is awesome. Great job. One question for you both, maybe give a big takeaway to the audience as our closing?
Christy, go ahead.
Big takeaway. I think really honestly, the takeaway for me is what I've learned from the manufacturers and building this for them and then providing a platform for you to sell your solutions to them. I'm excited to see how this comes together and what you guys do to sell your products on site. I'm excited to see it built.
Yeah. And I would say, I know we have some people that are not FPSA members here, but specifically talking to our membership, FPSA is always on a journey, if you will. The association doesn't stand still. The industry is changing, and we need to change with it, and we have been changing with it. If you've been paying attention to the association over the last year and a half, you can see the education programs that we've set up, the new events that we've set up, the new conferences that we've set up. And this change in the focus of the show is part of that evolution as well, right? And looking a little more holistically at the audiences that we serve, and not just being so focused on the selling of equipment. That's super important. That's an opportunity that we absolutely should be providing to our members. But we also think that there's a different way maybe of going about that and finding some new customers, new audiences, new ears for your products that we haven't attracted before. And that's what we're doing here. So I would urge FPSA members to take a look at this, to look at these QR codes, take a deeper look at the concept here, and engage with us and help us make this show a success, really. The show is something that Messe Frankfurt and FPSA work on to design and to set up. But we need you to come as exhibitors. We need you to come as attendees for it to be successful. And I would urge for you to help us do that. And thank you very much for listening to this webinar and letting us introduce the show to you.
Thank you.